West from Loch, Victoria, Australia. Today's date's the 29th of the 10th, 2015, and it's about 25 past 10 in the morning. And we're going to be heading from, as you can see, from the Loch post office into Sale, and do a bit of driving around Sale, and then we'll go from Sale, basically drive around Sale, then back to Loch Sport again. And this is Jack sitting next to him, give you a lift down to Sale. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy the video. It's about 17 degrees outside, and we'll just listen to the radio as we go along.
Critical to our understanding of the world. It's critical to the work of science all around the world. And it is, you are global workers. Whether you have had how far or how little you travel, you are global workers. I tell you what,
basically make this video for, make this video so I can put like front both cameras, right, plus this one, and also a little map on the left hand corner, that GPS one, satellite map, and a little one just basically speed and stuff like that. So how can you go yourself, or?
Oh, I missed the bus to go to school.
Ah.
Let's go down to the...
So whereabouts?
South College.
Okay, yeah, that's probably where that is.
Okay.
I'll take it there, mate. So what are you studying?
Oh, just in year 10 at the moment, so...
Oh, yeah.
That's the standards until I get to what I'm actually doing.
Oh, I hope you go well, then.
So you make YouTube videos, eh?
What's that?
So you make YouTube videos, eh?
Yeah. Done the Wilfred list.
Let's go to Southwest Queensland and the ongoing debate against CSG or about CSG. Because it looks like there's highlight intentions between locals and companies looking to tap the region's coal seam gas reserves.
So basically you'll be on this one, you don't mind? It covers this scene as well, this camera.
Some locals warn many others are on the brink of suicide because of what they claim is relentless pressure from CSG companies to hand over their land. It's reporting local news in
Are you doing Loch Sport, or are you just travelling
I
around?
heard of cows graze on a paddock just outside of Miles, a small town about 150 kilometres outside Roma in southwest Queensland. But what makes this scene different is that right in the middle of where the cows quietly munch on grass is a large coal seam gas well. It takes up about the same area as a basketball court, and it's fenced off with warning signs to deter trespassers.
I hope we never get that shit
Many
in
similar
Victoria,
facilities are
coal seam
nearby.
gas.
Over there.
Yeah, you can outside, you can hear it outside. Inside you can't really, but yeah, if they drop a drill stem or something, you go bang, you hear them 2 or 3 k away. Reverse beepers, they got reverse beepers.
Two local graziers, Daryl Bishop and David McCabe, have come to check it out.
Lights, they got those big light shines. Yeah, they definitely throw down low.
Over the past decade, they've seen the area transform from farmland into the hub of the CSG industry. David McCabe likens it to a cancer.
It's like I'm going to, when they come in the
Basically
area,
just do shopping once a month and we can help it.
own the land, they're dedicated to the
Live it
land, the land is part of
yeah,
them.
just shop when we can, when we
It just
need
gets
to.
into them and it eats away.
Buy stuff when it's on special.
Friend Daryl Bishop says the CSG industry has turned it into an industrial area with scant regard for the local community.
They're devastated there.
Yes.
It's fractured the whole
We've
community.
been trying to do something that
Environmentalists say the process has the potential to contaminate groundwater sources.
that I like to do, and something I could try to make something out of one day. Like I do a YouTube video of the lake every day, ocean every day. I catch some wildlife, I try to catch that.
Daryl Bishop is among them.
Yeah.
One company wants to build a pipeline across his farm.
And I
He's
go to,
stared down legal threats,
I go to Sale
what
when I
he
need to.
describes as persistent bullying.
Disgraceful is all I can say. Disgraceful. The
I try to
greatest
avoid
bullies
trying to
ever
sell
made
them
war.
at Melbourne, but
Earlier this month, the anti-CSG lobby lost one of its most
What's that?
strident
It's a bit of a
voices
trip.
when
Yeah.
George Bender took his
I always
own
ask,
life.
I talk to people a lot around the world, right? I ask one very basic question. How far is it to the closest McDonald's or KFC or Hungry Drake's? Now, the bloke lives up north, basically he lives across the road from McDonald's. The most
making their way from Sydney up to the Central Coast. Two trucks have collided on the M1 at Arm Point, roughly 5 kilometres north of the Hawkesbury River Bridge.
What's that?
Northbound has been blocked between the Hawkesbury River and the Mount White interchange. Anyone caught between those two spots are being U-turned, so if you are southbound, it looks like lane 3 is being dedicated to that traffic that has to work its way back towards the Hawkesbury. As you can imagine, massive delays for those trying to make their way out of Sydney towards the Central Coast of Newcastle.
I think most people sit on 110
We have delays at Thornley, Penderfields Road, northbound as well, the street around the Promenade Parkway with a broken down Pacific in the far left-hand lane. And we also have a broken down truck on the M5, citybound approaching King George's Road, Beverly Hills in lane 1. All okay for the AC, see the reports of
Watch out for kangaroos, bloody
two serious crashes from this morning, Carrum down, Horsley Road between Banghurst and Thompson Road. That's closed off, and so too out Waverley Ricketts Road between Gilby Road and Foster Road. We've got a fire at West Melbourne, Spencer Street, northbound Latrobe Terrace, Latrobe Street, sorry, watch out for emergency services. And after the building fire, Hawthorne East Berwick Road has been reopened at Camberwell Road in both directions. We go down to Hobart now, city bounders on the Tasman Bridge on the Rose Bay side. Getting reports of a car on fire, so please keep an ear and eye out for emergency services. At Modbury for Adelaide, North East Road, Smart Road and crash is the only problem. And looking towards Perth, the big issue, the only problem, Malaga, Mackay, Nella, Alexander Drive, northbound, Reed Highway. You've got northbound temporarily blocked after a truck rollover, so massive delays. Avoid the area at all costs. Traffic is chaotic. I'm Paul Latin. More ABC News Radio traffic in half an hour.
All I'm Steve Chase. Eastern Daylight Time this Thursday is 10:30. 10 o'clock in South Australia, 9:30 in Queensland. The time in the Northern Territory is 9 o'clock and it's 7:30 in WA.
ABC News Radio. information to answer the ridiculous questions posed by Australian journalists. Earlier this month, the government announced the detention centre would become an open one, giving asylum seekers the freedom to move around. Liam Fox, ABC News.
Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has announced a replacement for Australia's icebreaker, saying it will be larger than the Aurora Australis and carry more cargo. It will be 156 metres long compared to the Aurora Australis, which is almost 95 metres. It will also be able to carry 116 expeditioners, the same as the Australis.
Even though he had his head down, I was like, fuck this, I'm going to be safe.
Began under the previous government. It was an open process and Australian builders were encouraged. There were 6 original
I really don't want to have a camera
and
in this
all of them
thing.
were Australian companies.
Yeah, wasn't much left of it.
Residents from Chinchilla, Queensland's Western Downs district, are beginning to assess the
Surprised to see one there this time of day.
The storm hit late, dumping heavy rain and a thick blanket of ice. Resident Marina Baker says it was a terrifying experience.
You just wanted to crouch down. It was so loud and so unbelievably. It just like it was coming through the roof, like everything was caving in.
Mayor Ray Brown says the SCS has taken about 140 calls for help.
The big facilities of the cultural centre, library, the art gallery have caused all the significant damage.
Power was cut to the entire town last night, but has since been restored to all but about 100 people. In March, a similar storm caused widespread damage. Authorities expect the damage felt from yesterday's event to run into the millions of dollars.
This man who set fire to his own business in northwestern Victoria used a chainsaw to prevent firefighters from attempting to extinguish the blaze. Emergency services were called to the home in Redford near Mildura about 9:30 last night. Police used capsicum spray to subdue the 54-year-old man. He's been taken to hospital for a mental health assessment. In the United States, the Republican Party will hold its 3rd presidential candidate debate in the next half an hour or so, focusing on jobs, taxes and the deficit. America correspondent Stephanie Branch reports from Washington.
The debate, titled Your Money, Your Vote, will be held at a university in Colorado. Candidates are expected to be asked about their fiscal policies. Frontrunner and retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson says if president, he'd like to impose a flat tax on all citizens, which he says is based on Bible teachings. His closest rival, Donald Trump, is expected to try again to highlight his record as a businessman. It's the first debate held since Mr. Trump fell from the top spot in the polls, which he's held for months. Stephanie March, ABC News, Washington.
The US Federal Reserve has once again decided not to raise interest rates. The decision was widely expected and marks 7 years in which the Fed has held short-term interest rates near zero. Some on board have indicated a desire to raise rates in its final meeting of the year in December. The board statement also suggests concerns about the global economy are easing. The domestic economy is expanding modestly. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews says a major upgrade of the Monash Freeway is already being developed as part of a major project to prevent an alternative to the Westgate Bridge. Rather to provide an alternative to the Westgate Bridge, the Western Distributor proposes to link the Westgate Freeway to Sydney via a tunnel under Yarraville, was floated by rolling company Transurban earlier this year. The federal government has urged Victoria to focus its infrastructure spending on improving the Monash. Mr. Andrews says he's asked Transurban to include a major upgrade of the Monash as part of a package of works linked to the Western Distributor. The ANZ Bank has reported its full-year statutory profit after tax of $7.5 million, up 3% on the year. The bank's cash profit came in at $7.2 million, up 1% on the year. The profit is in line with expectations, mainly driven by the bank's Australian business, good growth in lending and deposits. The local share market is flat in early trade despite a solid rise on Wall Street after the US Central Bank kept interest rates on hold, as we heard. At the moment, the All Ordinaries Index is pretty flat at 5,375 points. The 6,200 down slightly, 1 point in fact, to 5,334. Dow Jones Industrial average early this morning, at the session, that finished about 198 points higher, thanks to
more like Jeb Bush will come through at the end.
I might get my numbers slightly wrong here, but I think Donald Trump's been at the top of the polls, was at the top of the polls, then as Donald Trump, being passed to Donald Trump for about 130 days. There's only about 90 days to go until the beginning of the primary vote. So I think pundits are getting a bit worried about the fact that they've been there for longer than we have to go, whether or not that will mean they stay longer. It's difficult to know. Among those polled in that latest national poll I was talking about, 70% of people surveyed said they still hadn't firmly made up their minds, which definitely leaves room for an establishment candidate like Jeb Bush or maybe Marco Rubio to come up. And ultimately, it seems like the Republican base will be reluctant to bring in a complete outsider. It hasn't happened before, and it's unlikely to happen this time.
And is there much of a difference on the policy front between the various characters, or has there not been much actual policy substance to what they've come up with so far?
Well, that's one of the criticisms of particularly the Republican debates to date, that they've been mainly just people trying to get that soundbite, trying to have a go at each other. But I think tonight's debate is going to be a bit different. The focus of the debate is your money, your vote, and it's going to be questions about economic policies, about tax reform. Obviously, Republicans like to cut taxes. How are they going to do that and keep up with spending levels or increase spending? And just watching the kids' table debate, which just wound up with just the four lowest polling candidates, there were some tough questions there about, immigration reform. Well, if you take the common Republican view of cutting immigration, what do you do about killing jobs for American businesses? So I think tonight will be a bit more revealing on the policy front.
American correspondent Stephanie March speaking there to the ABC's Joe O'Brien about the Republican candidates debate, their third debate to be held at the University of Colorado, and it's meant about 10 minutes from across to some of the debates in town.
stepped out of the open London as a priest, a senior
forms from inside.
We are in the truly war against Pope Francis. So we are not only homophobic office, we are Francis-phobic. We have really phobia of Francis. And we are acting in all this time against Pope. This is government of my boss. And this is my spiritual boss.
The priest has had no response from Pope Francis. Today, the Vatican had no comment. It's the BBC's Religious Affairs correspondent Caroline Wyatt.
You're listening to ABC News Radio.
Just 5 minutes away from the next news update, all the latest finance with that in sport as well. The pesky fruit fly could hold the key to unlocking new therapies to help treat brain conditions like autism and schizophrenia. That's the new finding of a group of Australian scientists studying the proteins, what's commonly known as the vinegar fruit fly. They've discovered a link between the growth gene and brain development, which they hope could lead to new discoveries about how the human brain works.
For 8 years, a group of scientists has been studying the vinegar fruit fly, trying to understand more about how it works. The reason is that fruit flies and humans share an uncanny number of genes. Associate Professor Coral Wall is part of the investigative team.
Flies share about 75% of our genes, and so many genes do the same thing in flies as they do in us.
So, understanding the similarities between us and flies allows scientists to discover more about the human body. What they've discovered is that proteins, which are usually responsible for the destruction of virally infected or cancerous cells in our immune system, are the same as the ones used to control the release from cells of a critical growth factor, which governs head and tail development in fruit flies. Dr. Michelle Hemstridge is part of the research team from Monash University. She says the fruit fly studies are yielding some encouraging results.
We've been trying to understand how a growth factor controls, work out what part of it grows for the head and what part is the tail. And doing this, we found that this growth factor controlled by a protein called torsolac. And what's really exciting about this is that in humans, related proteins are best known for their roles in immunity and defense, where they destruct viral infected cells. So obviously in the fruit fly, protein is not active in defense, rather in development, and a group of related proteins in humans have shown to be associated with brain development and brain disorders. So we're using the fly to understand how these proteins work in development, which can provide clues to how they work in humans.
More studies are needed to test the theory, but scientists believe the findings may help to explain how the shared proteins might function in human brain development and neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism and schizophrenia. Growth factors also play a role in other major diseases like cancer and obesity, so understanding how they work is important. The findings are published in today's edition of the Nature Communications Journal. Professor James Wistock is a co-author.
We have a suspicion that there's a physical role in the fly in controlling growth factor, which by localization is an issue.
Okay, you're going to have to tell me which way I'm going to go.
Follow straight and stay in the left lanes. Go straight past, you know where the Criterion pub is?
Just tell us what I've got to tell. I've lived here over 5 years, coming here all my life, but I'm just like, yeah.
Associate Professor Coral
Yeah.
Wall says the findings could one day help to develop new
I never paid
treatments for
attention
brain
to
development
things.
disorders.
But what we would hope is that how we
Basically straight ahead.
understand how genes work in brain development in disorders such as autism, but obviously a better
Not too bad, it's 11 o'clock.
is going to help in terms of both understanding those conditions.
I think you missed much
also
there.
working towards
Nah, it's free period in the morning anyway.
Associate Professor Coral Wall from Monash University, heading that report by many teams. Let's check the traffic now. All that is Australian traffic.
Actually, two problems in Brisbane, a Bald Hills, a breakdown, Linkfield Road, citybound before Gimpy Road, and a crash at Indooroopilly on Moggle Road, citybound prior to Russell Terrace. Now, for those trying to get from Sydney north up to the Central Coast and up to Newcastle, well, basically you're in strife. M1 northbound closed between the Hawkesbury River and the the Mount White interchange because of two trucks colliding at Bar Point. They're trying to get everyone onto the Pacific Highway down towards the Hawkesbury River, but there's so much traffic that's actually caught between that location and the incident itself. Now, if you are southbound, you've got reduced lanes there, U-turning a lot of vehicles who are stuck, and so that area is absolutely chaotic. If you want to, I would recommend going to Wyland's Ferry, even though it's a long way away across the ferry. As we work our way down to the ACT, that's good, into Melbourne, still at Mount Waverley, Ricketts Road closed between Gilby Road and Foster Road, but the crash at Worsley Road, Carrum Downs has cleared. Ferntree Gully, Burwood Highway, Ferntree Gully Road, an accident, and the fire at Spencer Street, Latrobe Street has now also been wrapped up at West